New details about Elon Musk's relationship with ketamine have come to light just days after the tech mogul announced his departure from the White House. While Musk had previously claimed he used a small amount once every other week, reporting from the New York Times suggests his use may have been more frequent, especially while traveling with President Donald Trump's campaign, enough to raise concerns about possible health impacts. In a revealing interview with Don Lemon back in March 2024, Musk shared that he used ketamine as part of a prescribed treatment for depression. He firmly denied any suggestion of abuse. Still, the new reporting hints that the situation may have been more complicated behind the scenes, especially during the intense periods on the campaign trail. Ketamine isn't an unfamiliar name in celebrity circles. Matthew Perry, the beloved Friends actor, was also using ketamine under medical supervision for depression treatment at the time of his passing in October 2023. Authorities clarified that the ketamine in his system wasn't linked to his most recent medical treatments. Other famous figures like Chrissy Teigen and Sharon Osbourne have spoken openly about their own experiences with the substance, showing how its presence has been growing not only in psychiatric settings but also in public conversation. So, what exactly is ketamine? According to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration (DEA), ketamine is classified as a dissociative anesthetic. It's known for producing hallucinogenic effects and is often used in medical and veterinary settings as a short-acting anesthetic. What makes ketamine particularly interesting is how it interacts with the brain. It binds to NMDA, N-methyl D-aspartate receptors, effectively sending a stop signal. This disrupts the normal communication between the brain and the body, leading to a kind of mental and physical disconnection. The effects vary depending on the dose. In small medical doses, it can lift depressive symptoms or dull severe pain. At higher doses, it produces a sense of detachment or even hallucinations. Some describe it as an out-of-body experience. In clinical anesthesia, it can render someone completely unconscious. Despite its legitimate medical uses, ketamine has a long history of recreational abuse, earning it the street names, Special K, or simply, K. When used outside of a medical setting, ketamine's dissociative effects can become dangerous, especially because users can lose their sense of reality and personal safety. In Musk's case, the line between medical use and potential overuse is where the current scrutiny lies. While his past statements described careful, physician-guided usage, the NYT's reporting suggests that ketamine became a more regular part of his routine, particularly under the stress and chaos of Trump's campaign trail. The drug's growing popularity as a mental health treatment has stirred both excitement and caution in the medical community. On the one hand, ketamine represents a breakthrough for patients with treatment-resistant depression, offering rapid relief where traditional antidepressants can take weeks or even months. On the other hand, the potential for misuse, and the lack of long-term data on repeated treatments, raises important questions. Medical experts stress that ketamine's antidepressant benefits come from tightly controlled, low-dose administrations, often through infusions in clinical settings. Recreational or unmonitored use, even with the initial intention of managing depression, can slip into patterns that affect memory, cognition, and overall health. Beyond its medical and recreational roles, ketamine's impact on culture has been notable. It's frequently referenced in club scenes and music, often glamorized for its surreal, dreamlike high. But the flip side includes stories of addiction, dangerous physical effects, and in some cases, legal consequences. For Musk, whose every move attracts global headlines, these new revelations have layered a fresh dimension onto his already complex public persona. The tech billionaire, known for his ambitious ventures with SpaceX, Tesla, and X, formerly Twitter, now finds himself under public scrutiny not just for his business dealings or political moves but for his personal health choices. In recent years, ketamine clinics have popped up in cities around the world, offering treatments for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. These clinics often market themselves as cutting-edge, providing relief where mainstream medicine has struggled. However, the regulatory landscape is still evolving, and experts warn that the booming interest could outpace scientific understanding, leading to inconsistent quality and oversight. The fact that someone as high-profile as Musk is openly discussing ketamine use adds both visibility and controversy to the conversation. Critics argue that public figures have a responsibility to set an example, especially when talking about controlled substances. Supporters, however, point out that mental health struggles affect everyone, regardless of status, and breaking the stigma requires honesty, even from billionaires. Musk's relationship with Trump's campaign has been another point of fascination. His involvement raised eyebrows not only because of his own outspoken nature but also because of the ideological contrasts. The idea that ketamine played a role behind the scenes adds an unexpected wrinkle to the already dramatic political storylines. The debate over ketamine reflects a broader societal shift in how we view mental health treatment. Decades ago, depression was often seen as a private battle, rarely discussed in public. Today, conversations around medication, therapy, and alternative treatments like psychedelics or ketamine are happening everywhere, from clinical journals to social media. Still, with that openness comes responsibility. Experts caution that without proper guidance, the self-experimentation trend can lead people down risky paths. Even medications that show promise in controlled studies can become dangerous when used outside those boundaries. It's also worth noting that ketamine's rise mirrors the renewed interest in other psychedelic compounds like psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and MDMA, ecstasy, which are being studied for their potential mental health benefits. While these substances show exciting potential, researchers emphasize that they require strict controls and should not be seen as casual solutions. The human brain is remarkably complex, and drugs that affect mood and perception can have far-reaching effects beyond their immediate target. That's why medical professionals advocate for a cautious, science-based approach rather than a hype-driven rush to embrace the next big thing. Musk's case is a reminder of how even those with access to the best doctors and resources are not immune to the challenges of mental health treatment. Wealth and power do not guarantee perfect outcomes, and high achievers can face immense pressures that push them to explore unconventional solutions. The public fascination with Musk's ketamine use also speaks to the broader curiosity about how powerful figures manage stress and mental strain. When icons of industry and politics reveal their vulnerabilities, it humanizes them but also raises important ethical and social questions. Should public figures disclose their medical treatments? How do we balance transparency with privacy? And what responsibilities come with being a cultural influencer in a world where mental health awareness is still catching up to scientific discovery? In the end, the conversation sparked by Musk's ketamine use is about more than one man's health choices. It's a window into a rapidly evolving world of medicine, celebrity, politics, and the human quest to feel better. As more stories emerge, the hope among mental health advocates is that public attention will help push for better education, stronger safeguards, and a more compassionate approach to those navigating these deeply personal struggles. Musk's story, with all its contradictions and complexities, invites us to look beyond headlines and ask deeper questions. What does effective mental health care really look like? Who gets access to it? And how do we make sure that promising treatments like ketamine are used wisely, not recklessly? For now, the public watches as Musk moves into the next phase of his unpredictable journey, carrying with him both the weight of scrutiny and the promise of possibility.